Yeah, Prabir and I were both at Bamboo until the end of the night.
Oh, you did Bamboo.
We're both in that 1996 project. I don't know if he talked about that.
No, what's the 1996 project?
We cover alternative rock songs from the year 1996.
What was big in 96?
Cake. They have The Distance is from 96,
Yeah, that's a good
and
one.
like the Presidency of the United States of America.
Peaches.
Yeah, Peaches. We
Nice.
played Peaches. So. Anyway, so he's been. I'm curious to see. You know, him and I had the same evening. So if his interview's better than mine, I'm gonna be pissed. You know, that's
There's the direct competition.
Quick debate we had before you got here.
Yeah, sure.
You just said you spoke in 96. He said 93 was the best year in music. I said 97. Which would you agree with?
I don't know.
Didn't cross John.
Didn't.
Of all the music that has ever
Yeah. That's kind of. Well, I don't know. Flagpole Sitter came out in 97. I know that. That's my only contribution I have right there. So.
7 it is,
But I was born in 93, so.
Jurassic Park.
So yeah, Jurassic Park was like the first #1 movie of my life.
Of your
so,
life?
so.
That's a good one to come in
Yeah,
on.
you know, I enjoy it.
Yeah. 93. Classic.
I know. I was going to make a comment of that because earlier today I asked, does
thank you.
like actually drink a Capri Sun? And then she was like, not really, but it's really just for anybody. And then you came up with, I was like, yes.
We got one.
I was, you know, I did have a moment where I was like, I'm gonna finish this before it starts though, so I don't have the package. I also have a hat. Should I wear it or not?
You can wear it. We can put it somewhere. Whatever's making you comfortable. I got a hat on.
If you want to wear it, if you want to put it right there in that little open
Yeah,
I'll just put it back here.
Yeah, there's a nice open spot.
So I'm not from New York, so sometimes you wear it and people are like, "Is he from New York?" And you're like, "Oh
Like,
shit,
no, I just like
I
the
just
word
like the
Mets. Cool. What's up, Warren?
Hey, how are you?
Nothing, man. Thank you so much for coming today. I remember the first time that I met you was at the Camel, doing the open mic nights, and you do those once a month, right?
Yeah, it's once a month. It's the last Wednesday of every month.
Nice. And I remember like when I came in, I was very nervous because you know open mics, they tend to usually be like one genre, like you know whoever's throwing it. But yours had a lot of different styles, like folk. There was rock. I came in and rapped that night, and like everything was accepted. It was really cool. So how did you kind of create that vibe with the open mic?
Well, I'm not the first host of the Camel open mic night, but they kind of had a model there that they had been doing where it was very open to everyone. And just getting in there, I feel like hosting open mic is one of those things where you think, sure, we have a lot of talented artists in town now that are established, but it's sort of like, how can we continue to grow the community? And it's like offering a nice place for people to play where there's no pressure because, you know, there's a whole bunch of, when you're trying to book your first show, it's so intimidating.
Yeah.
And like what you want to do is you want to be able to hone your skills as a performer, but not have to, you know, you don't have to impress anyone just yet. And it's such a great way to meet new musicians you might want to have in your band and all this other stuff. I remember I played a lot at the Carey Street Cafe open mic.
Yeah.
Which I've heard referenced a couple of times on this show,
It's
but it was
definitely
quite legendary. So, you know, just having done that myself and sort of feeling like that's how I got my performance footing in town a little bit was sort of why I really wanted to host one myself. And I've got great house band. Hunter Rhodes is the drummer in Dead Billionaires, and then Neil Friedman is my roommate, actually, and plays in a band called Super Doppler.
Tight.
He's super talented, so they're both wonderful, and so that makes it way easy to, you know, play with different folks. It's I don't know, it's just a good time. I like open mic a lot.
I enjoyed myself. Have you, you know, heard anything back from artists that have been coming to the open mics that they're like, you know, this process or being at your open mic has allowed them to like work through their material or kind of like shape their songs up a little bit more?
Not directly, but what's nice is seeing people get better.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of one of the not really nice benefits of it is you see people who come back every month, and it's kind of nice that it's a month of distance in between each one. So it's not one person playing the same song every single week. It's one person thinking, oh, well, how can I do this differently and bring it back again? And there's been a lot of really cool artists that are popping in with that and, you know, developing their sound and getting better and starting bands, and it's really cool to see. I like it a lot.
That's pretty sick. Yeah, the Cary Street Cafe, I feel like, is going to live in infamy because Allie Thibodeau was here talking about it, just how much it meant to her. What are some like other Richmond venues that you've seen kind of just like not be around anymore, but that used to hold like a special place in the music scene here?
Well, I think the first place that really gave like my band a chance back in the day was Strange Matter. And we didn't play there all that many times, but I kind of got used to, Mark was the guy that was booking there, and he had like, just, it's really cannot be emphasized enough how much having someone who is willing to communicate with you clearly and effectively through email about a show, you know, it's not a given.
It's
There's
the little
really,
things,
yeah,
right?
so it was great, and there was one time they hit us up like fall 2017. They're like, hey, this band's coming through. Are you guys available to open? And it was a Tuesday night, and like we would have had to get like a fill-in bass player or something. And I was like, I want to, but can't do it. And then like 3 weeks later, they're like, Strange Matter's closing forever. And I was like, why didn't I take that last gig that we could have done at Strange Matter? But Strange Matter was really big. Cary Street Cafe was another one. We played there a whole bunch. I did open mic there like every week for maybe a year, which was crazy, but like super fun, and made a lot of great friends there. And
Yeah.
I feel like the people I'm still collaborating with are the people that I met there. So it's
That's pretty cool. How many of those people that you collaborated with at you know, Cary Street Open Mic or the Camel that ended up being in your band? Because I know that you have like a revolving kind of set of musicians. You know, maybe you can explain like why you do that, and then have you met anybody at these things that ended up playing?
Well, my perspective on making music is that you should be performing as much as possible. And part of that is because I've seen how difficult recording is, and I've seen how difficult it is to get people to notice your music at all. Mm-hmm. And there's these people that say, oh, well, you know, really the only way that you can make money as a musician is touring, you know? And I was like, well, not exactly touring all the time just yet, but it's, you know, why would I invest more time in something that's not going to, you know, help propel this project? So it's sort of having that revolving door. We have our drummer right now is Hunter Rhodes. He's pretty locked in, but we've got a rotating bass player right now. But it's been really cool to see these songs interpreted through different, you know, supporting musicians. We did 2 duo tours last year. My buddy Troy Crossley plays drums and bass and everything, and he lives in Asheville, North Carolina. So I drove down, picked him up, went to Texas, dropped him back off, went home. Did that twice last year.
South by Southwest?
So we did South by Southwest in 2022 as an unofficial artist, and then we called it a speed run because we played 8 shows in 8 days and went all the way to Texas and back in August of last year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really fast. It was probably like 7-8 hours a day driving, but
and then getting out, playing a show.
Yeah, you know, and it was, you know, I have a minivan, so it's one of those things where it's just like, keeping everything as streamlined as possible is really important to me. And
Who's organizing like that tour? Is that something that you're putting together?
yeah, I'm doing all the booking right now, and it's pretty wild because it's easy to spend a whole lot of time doing that, but just realizing that you gotta create your own opportunities, and that's sort of been like. It really revolves around where my friends are. It's like who's, just kind of reverse engineer the tour of like, well, where can we crash first? It's like where are our people?
Let's narrow the search.
Yeah. So we've gone to Austin twice, and by the time this airs, we'll have gone a third time down to South by Southwest.
Because you're doing that in March, right?
We're doing that in March, yeah. So that's going to be 17 days on the road. So I can't tell you how it went just yet, but
just say it went great.
It went great. Yeah, it was amazing. But yeah, it's. I've got two really good buddies, Michaela Friedman and Dylan Kitzelman, down in Austin, and Michaela Friedman actually did the art for our album that's coming out in June. So. It was one of those things where it was like kind of a no-brainer to like, well, Austin's pretty far away, but if we've got buddies that we can, connect with and, they can be our eyes on the ground and like help promote, why wouldn't we? And we've got a nice, really lovely collaboration with them now. So it's all about just figuring out where you can go, and we play Asheville all the time because Troy's either playing with us or he's, we're crashing on his floor.
Nice.
He's got a bunch of great music scene, a bunch of great friends down there. So yeah, and then we're meeting bands along the way, and just trying to help each other out the whole time. It's really DIY, and playing a good amount of house shows. Done that in Nashville a couple of times now, but yeah, booking them is stressful and it's crazy, and I'm doing it because I like to be on the road. I like to play a lot,
I think it was on the video where you were launching the Kickstarter campaign for this record that you got coming out now, I believe. But you were saying like you had done more than 115 shows, like working on this material over the last year. And I did see that you guys had met your Kickstarter goal for the album. Like, what did that mean? How did you go about, like, I guess, asking people
Sure.
for help?
So what we did was in summer of 2022, we took all that we had made over, the band fund and, like everything we had done up until that point, and we basically sunk all of our money into recording. So we did it at Chip Hale's house in Lakeside. Nice. He's got a really killer like home studio there, and then we got Rich Stein to mix it, and then Rose Quartz Mastering to master it. So that was pretty much the extent of our budget, is what we had spent all of the band fund on actually making the record. Yeah. And then it was a situation of, well, how are we going to put this out? So we had finished it probably by August of last year, and we were sort of in a situation of like, well, how are we going to put this out, and how can we send this as far as we can? So what we decided would be best would be to run a Kickstarter campaign. So I functionally have tried to be my own record label with what we're doing, in that I got a 0 interest for 12 months credit card to put all of these costs on. So, but what's been great is, we were able to order the vinyl before the Kickstarter campaign started. Right. Because it's got a crazy turnaround time. So, hopefully by the time this is airing, we have it. We have the vinyl in hand. But it was really nerve-wracking to be like, okay, we've spent the money. Now let's run this Kickstarter campaign to try and like recoup the money. And we got, really, really supportive fans and family and friends we have out there. So it was really, there's a terrifying bit in the middle where there's a lot of people give you money right at first, and then there's this like dead zone in the middle, and you're like, oh no, is this gonna happen? And then like as you get towards like 70%, and then there's like a week left, people are like, oh yeah, let's make this happen, you know. And it's like, oh, but
You got to make you earn it. Sweat in the middle a little bit.
yeah, we were able to, you know, raise enough money to do a run of merch and hire someone to help out with PR, and all this stuff. So it's been great having all of that prepared, is sort of making it so it's like, all right, let's just play some shows now, you know, like get the music out there. So
yeah, and it's going to feel really good too, because I mean the people that are putting into that Kickstarter are theoretically going to be the people that are already into your music, or will listen to your music. So, you know, they're kind of just like prepaying up front to make sure that it gets
it's
out
a total pre-order, and you know, we're giving out vinyl and t-shirts and stickers, and we're gonna do there was a certain tier on there that was if you pledge X amount, like I'll give you everything I've ever recorded on a like mix CD, you know, so it's just sort of like from
starting
when
did you start recording?
Yeah, it's like I've got my like demo from like 8-9 years ago on there. Nice. So it'll be like the old demo, like the old Little River Creek Police stuff, and then every Dead Billionaires recording.
Wow.
So it's just going to be a cool little thing for folks to have, you know.
That's pretty sweet. Now, it's good that, you know, you were offering like different levels of packages, because, you know, everybody's got different means and what they can and can't. But I think that also, it puts a little skin in the game for the people that are investing in the Kickstarter. It's like, hey, like when that album comes out, I want to hear it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like they can say, yeah, I'm your fan, I follow you. And kind of leave it at that.
And that's kind of what we've always wanted to encourage, is a very like community-centric outlook on things, and a very, you know, like if you want this to happen, you'll help us make it happen. And I think that's that whole collaboration, instead of saying, oh, we need to find a record label before we can put this out, or we need to leverage this to do this. It's like, well, let's just ask if our, you know, like the whole production of it was with all of our friends, you know. It's like Chip is a Cary Street Cafe open mic guy, and like got Michaela Friedman to do the art. Ashley Travis has done 2 videos with us, and she did our video for Engines a couple years ago. And you know, Ian, my roommate Ian Atchison, helped out with a lot of the video stuff, and you know, so we just kind of, as I understand it, just helping out all of each other gets us all skin in the game, right? And then we're all, you know, celebrating each other's, you know, hopeful success, right? So.
No, that's good, man. You tie energy together and point it in the same direction.
Yeah, you know.
That's the goal. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you mentioned Engines, and I did want to go back to that, because I really enjoyed that music video. Like, I don't know, you were playing guitar and fighting somebody in an attic. Like, it was a lot of fun. How did you decide, all right, we're going to put a little humor in this video, and then what was like that process of filming it like?
Yeah, that was the best day of 2021, I think. Everybody was just like, we had such a blast making it. And the way when we were recording our last EP, which we recorded at home, Ian Atchison being the engineer on that, we had just a small gear malfunction where his keyboard was hooked up to this soundboard. So when he was hitting these mute buttons, it was actually like playing some of his piano keys through the system. I don't know how this happened.
I love synchronized buttons.
But we kind of came up with the idea that it was what if there was a haunted soundboard in a recording. So we kind of had it that we got Zach Victor to play our producer or engineer in that video, and then he gets possessed by the spirit and kills all of us, and then we're a zombie band at the end. So it was really fun to make, and like Ashley's so collaborative with her directing style, and she's always looking for like what is something that's going to be unique in these situations, and like how can we make this fun. And we really feel like over making the newer videos as well, that we've got this nice relationship of like making something that's really high quality, but it's really silly too.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of our brand, I guess, with working with her. But
A touch of personality. Did Dave Grohl ever hit you up because you wrote the movie before he did, or?
no, I really.
Because I haven't seen that movie, but I definitely
haven't
watched
seen the
trailer.
movie either. But yeah, as soon as I heard about it, I was like, "Damn, Dave stole our idea!" Like shit.
Shout out to Dave Grohl,
Shout out
Virginia
to
legend.
Dave Grohl. We will, if you ever need someone to tour with Foo Fighters, I know not many people want to do that, but but we will. No.
Nobody's ever asked.
Yeah,
you,
nobody's ever asked.
But just in case.
Yeah. Dave, you're from Virginia. I'm from Virginia. Let's make it happen.
Make it up.
But you know, we sing so much about really serious topics that it's really nice to have like a I don't know. I've always appreciated like there being like a lot of humor in music. Over the time when I was unemployed during the pandemic, I listened to Randy Newman's "Short People" quite a lot. You know that song, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would just like a whole bunch of stuff like that. I was like, man, that song is hilarious, and I think that that's a nice element to put in your music when you can, you know. And it's not always there because you know you have to sing about some serious shit sometimes. But it's not should always be playful in a way.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that levity and being really sad are very close to each other.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of like where your perspective is at on it.
Yeah.
Like if I was to kick this table, like I wouldn't laugh, but you might. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Sure.
it's just where you're at and your perspective on it. Like it could hurt me, but it's funny to you. But
Right.
and it doesn't make either wrong. So I think like if you're making a song that is serious, there are moments for levity, and if you're making a funny song,
totally.
there are moments for something serious maybe.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're not too far apart, but I don't know. I could just be rambling.
No. I agree. I think it's one of those things where you gotta, you can't bum people out exclusively. So.
Yeah. It's like this is 100%.
Yeah, and then I think that's partially that leads. If something has a bit of if it's a bit of a quip, then it gets some people on board that weren't necessarily listening when you were being 100% serious. You know, it's
You gotta reel those dads in.
yeah, it's if some people need to think that it's silly to get on board with a really serious idea, then that's something I'm willing to. Would love to do. You know.
Yeah, you change the packaging on the message. You know what I mean? However you receive it best.
Thanks. Yeah, and that's the album we have coming out, Disaster Preparedness Coloring Book, that's sort of the idea. It's named after I think it was NOAA or FEMA put out something called the Disaster Preparedness Coloring Book in like 93.
93.
Yeah, maybe the best year for music, maybe. Yeah, they put it out, and basically what it is it's this empty coloring book for kids to color in that shows all of these crazy scenarios like earthquakes and tornadoes and all of this stuff that's really quite frightening for children, but teaches you how to deal with it, right? And this make your plan for these emergencies and whatever. And we've sort of repurposed that idea to be, a guidebook for adults living through right now, because shit's fucked up and it's not, Can I say that?
You say whatever. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, well, no, when I was in elementary school, I had to color a book. It was called Defeating the Divorce Monster.
Whoa.
And it was like this big goofy looking monster like peeking around the corner and like a mom and a dad are arguing on a couch. Like I was coloring that shit.
Oh man, the divorce monster.
And now we're in therapy.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are in therapy. No.
It actually started with my mom. Like I went grocery shopping with her and was starting to see all of the options that are out there. I just was like, I can make all kinds of pretzels. I would come up with a bunch of cravings and then start selling them at work. I spent a lot of time making sure every detail is perfect. I just knew whatever was gonna come out was gonna be real because I live and breathe this like handroom creations. It was really important for us to be able to provide something for our vegan community, gluten-free community, our sugar-free community. The pretzels are like pretzel ladies. The cake pops are lady cakes. So just kind of trying to pour into that feminine energy and that, you know, I can have kids and still own my own business. Like I can do it all.
Rian over here, the wife that I told you about earlier, she created like a coloring book a few years ago in 2020 called Richmond Now. And it was like trying to help people understand everything that was going on, like, you know, down at the Lee statue and all the different organizations like in the city. And it was like, you know, coloring images and that kind of jam. So yeah, we like coloring.
That's great. No, that's wonderful. And I've talked to our artist about maybe actually making a coloring book. We haven't done it yet, but I might need to talk to you about, you know, the ins and outs. Yeah, you know, it's a pretty quick album. It's about 20 minutes, but it's
7 songs?
7 songs, 20 minutes, 2 sides, 45 RPM. So
sick.
It's gonna be really cool. I'm very excited about it.
Will you tell me a little bit about your single Curb?
Yeah, so Curb is sort of the first thing that I wrote. Or, you know, I think there's a lot of artists that had very productive pandemic experiences.
Sure, there's a
and
couple
I'm here to tell you that I was not one of those artists. So I wrote this chorus for this song, like maybe 2 days after, you know, having to stay at home all the time and starting to,
After we found out Tom Hanks had it.
Yeah, after we found out Tom Hanks had it.
That's
and
when shit
I
got real.
Got laid off and we were drinking too much coffee and too much beer and watching the president talk about what was going on in a really positive and constructive way. But, you know, I just was looking around and I was noticing that it was everyone was making choices based off of money. You know, it was all, every decision was based off of money at the time. So it was like, just easy to see how it was like, we don't care how many people die, you know, just as long as our bottom line is protected. So I kind of wanted to get, so I wrote that forever ago, and then, you know, a deep, dark depression lasted for, you know, as long as it did. And and then when we were ready to, you know, start, I think it was once we had booked our first show in 2021, I was like, all right, time to finish this song.
Yeah.
So, you know, wrote the rest of it. It all came out pretty quickly. But it's meant to contrast as sort of like the verse is all of us that are, you know, struggling here. And then the chorus is this sort of driving rhythm. It's like, oh, actually, fuck you. We don't care, you know. So the video for that's very fun. I love the video for it. And, we're riding around in the back of Prabir Mehta's truck, actually, all across Richmond. And we were in the bed of the truck going over the Belvedere Bridge. And I was like, oh man, like Nick, our bass player, was in the back of the truck, and there were like 4 of us sitting in the back of it. Ashley's like filming us from like low down in it. And I was like, man, Nick just had a baby, so I was like, this would be the dumbest reason for Nick's child not to have a father, is like this video shoot that we're doing. This like this is kind of dangerous. So, but
yeah, but it looked cool.
Great shot, but
and that's what it comes down to. That's all that it comes down.
Right.
I was gonna open it up to see if anybody had a question from the crew. We normally open it up for the crew every once in a while. Anybody got some? You got one? Word up. And then you need to go to the hot seat. That joint is blinking over there? Cool beans. I don't trust it sometimes.
That's solid.
You're solid. Okay.
All right. Hear me? So yeah, we do a little bit of like research about our guests, you know. But I came across just like how frequent the band has changed since the beginning of like the Little Creek Police to now. So like, I guess how do you feel about the changing tides and just I guess performing kind of organically? It seems like whoever is available like comes and plays and then.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that the only way that I wanted to run the project was by doing a lot of shows, and it was sort of like, I really enjoy playing with everyone that we've played with, and it's like everyone has something very different to contribute. So the songs have like a different lilt when, you know, Troy's playing bass versus when Nick's playing bass versus when Chip's playing bass. Or, you know, when Troy's playing drums and Hunter can't make it. It's a different band a little bit. And I think that, like, a lot of it just has to do with the realities of being a, you know, musician that wants to play a lot, is that people can't make it and people have other responsibilities. And, like, as long as the band keeps going, you know, it's like all about streamlining things. It's the reason why we've kept it a trio for so long, is it's just like we can fit in the van in the trio. We don't have to buy a new van to, you know, will hold us back, because it's very much like just work with who you got, and it's been a really great experience for me. We were very briefly a 4-piece, but it's like I'm buddies with everybody who's played in the band, and it's like just a cool time. Well, you'll see us with a couple of different bass players the rest of this year, and we probably will eventually like lock someone in on bass. Hunter and I are set with guitar and drums right now, but yeah, it's been a wild ride for sure.
No, I guess I have a little bit of a follow-up with the success of this Kickstarter. Would you do it for like maybe getting like a booking manager if like tours are going? I know you're doing it, but like
yeah,
would you want someone to kind of take over?
That's a great question, and I've definitely thought about it, because I'm realizing how much time I've been spending on making sure that people hear it right instead of making more of it, you know. So there's like,
Right.
I'd love to get set up with a booking person at some point. But I don't think that's going to be super soon, unfortunately. But, you know, it's all about building your crew, right? So it's like I've, you know, got videographers and artists and all of these people, and I'm going to be the booking guy for now. But we've got Henry Bainbridge from Death to Slow Music who's doing publicity for us right now, and it's just for the album release. And it's an interesting time, like building your own crew and just realizing it's sort of like whatever you don't, you know, hire someone else to do, you are doing, or it's not getting done. So you kind of have to prioritize and be like, okay, well, this didn't get done, and that's okay, because you're only one person and you have all of this, you know. I think when you're a DIY artist, you realize how much there is to D yourself, you know? Like, it's just very much like, if there's the things that aren't getting done, that's okay, because it's really, you know, back in the day, it was like people used to have a label, a booking manager, you know, like a marketing manager, like all of these different things, and sort of like, this is kind of my general critique of the whole system anyways, but it's, you know, like when you go to work and you work for a large corporation, right? And then they assign you a whole bunch of new duties to do, you expect a raise, right? But here, you know, like when, especially with music, but in a lot of ways everywhere, is that, well, now we have TikTok and all the social media stuff, and it's like, okay, well, now you have to hire a videographer to do all that stuff. Oh yeah, that videographer's you. and we aren't going to pay, no one's going to pay you more to do it, but you do have to do it, so it's very much a push and pull of like, how much do I want to do? What are these things that I'm doing? And it's all very difficult.
Yeah,
but
and it's tough to see the value sometimes, like when you're working on those things, because not every you work on a video, you put it up on TikTok, and nothing happens, and you're like, well, this is stupid,
Yeah,
and then you stop making videos, but you can't stop making you have to keep letting people know that you're doing music, but I think that sometimes it gets like very tiring. Just like playing the Instagram game, trying to, what are peak times that people are on Instagram?
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
dude, I'm just trying to make music.
Exactly. So there's so much time that gets spent doing all of that's sort of why I lean on, well, let's just get out there and play some more shows, because word of mouth does still exist. And I think in a lot of ways it's coming back. I'm sure you're aware of this, and I'm sure everyone in this room is aware of this. Remember how good Facebook events used to be? That was, you could really tell people you were playing somewhere because you had a Facebook event. And you didn't have to put your poster up around town. You just sent it to here. But now that platform's almost worthless. And then all of these other ways, so that it's like there's no central spot in which to reach people.
It's the Wild West again.
So let's put some posters up on the street. I think that's kind of where, moving back around to, it's like no one is in the same place online. Like, how many times have you watched a TikTok but you didn't hit save, and then you can't find it again?
Gone.
So it's like, where's this reference? Like, Instagram, you have 1,500 followers and only 300 people see it. So it's like, why aren't we? I think there's a lot to be said about the value of those platforms, and there's a lot of things that artists can get out of it. But if you're not getting it out of it, like talk to your neighbor, like invite your friend, that you saw in person. It's like, I think word of mouth is still very important.
Yeah.
And we've played. Coming up in March, in the past when this comes out, we're playing in Hot Springs, Arkansas for the 3rd time. And it was like a total random happenstance that we got there in the first place.
What was that story?
I was just trying to book down to South by Southwest, and I was like, what's in Arkansas? And I talked to my buddy who lived in Little Rock for a while, and he was like, well, this isn't in Little Rock, but it's like 45 minutes outside, and it's this bar called Maxine's that's it's a burlesque bar as well as a live music venue, and it's just in this great town. And we've played there twice now, and it's just been word of mouth. Like, we saw people were wearing the T-shirt that we sold them the first time at the second time we played there, and it's like, didn't know anyone in the town, but it's like, I'm very hopeful because it's like, that's word of mouth, It's like we played and people liked it and they brought more people out. And I think that still exists in a lot of places. You just kind of have to tap into the right communities,
Yeah. Oh, you got some?
Question?
Oh, you're mic'd up. Go ahead, bro.
Well, I don't want to interrupt. So, what's the weirdest or craziest van story you have?
Okay.
Sounds like you've been in the van.
Yeah, no, this is the weirdest one. Not specific to the van, but so this was the duo tour that we did in August of last year. So our connection had, we played Atlanta, and then the next night we were supposed to play in New Orleans. So we played in Atlanta, and the person we were supposed to stay with totally just ghosted us. We weren't able to, stay there. So we're like, well, we have a place to stay in New Orleans. Let's drive there now. So we drive all through the night to get to New Orleans. We just like barely beat the sun coming up. We get there, and then we're kicking around, and we play the show that night. And then after that night, my buddy Troy, he like went off with his girlfriend at the time, and they were getting food somewhere, and then they came back, and he's holding his jaw, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy got in like a fight with somebody. But he said, no, Warren, actually, I've had this broken tooth for a while now, and it was hurting for a while, and then it stopped. And as we were driving last night, it started hurting again. And then, like, he pulls his hand away from his face, and it's so swollen. So we had a great show in New Orleans, by the way. I was like, wow, thanks for really this. He didn't even tell me until after the show. But after we played the show, he couldn't sleep at all that night. And we were slated for like a drive day to Austin the next day. Mm-hmm. So what ended up happening was he had to have emergency like dental surgery and like get that tooth removed. Like on our one day off of the whole run. This was when we went to Texas and back in 8 days, and it was just like, whoa. Like, so, yeah, he had to get his tooth removed, and then I had to drive all by myself because he was on, painkillers to Austin that day. Or we like had to rest our one day off. He just spent the whole day in bed, and then we went the next day. But it was. Wow. But it was great. I mean, we had like a sense of community about it. Like Troy didn't have any money, and we just posted on Instagram about it. People knew we were on tour, and people sent him money to pay for emergency dental surgery. So it was a wild time. But he was really a trooper for And then they say it's like, oh well, don't do any intense physical activity. I was like. Playing drums in a punk band, does that count? Like, is that, is that...
It's not a lot of movement at all. That's cool. Do you have anything else, or? No pressure. I'm just saying, we're just checking.
Not that I can think of. I love van stories, though, so if you have another one.
You love van stories?
Yeah.
Like touring vans. I got you. Just any story with a van. Cool. Well, we got you something to say thank you that you could take home.
Oh my gosh.
We really appreciate your time and you just coming to share not only your story about your music, but how you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that have no idea how to book a tour, where to start, or, how to even start putting together an album and recording. So just tapping into your brain is super important, and I think that. I appreciate you being here and just sharing that with us. So we just want to say thank you for coming by. And then we just need you to do one thing for us before we get out of here.
I can do it.
So this clapboard has got your name on it?
Read before it told what it was. We can change it.
That's totally true. What do we want to ask for?
Something better than clipboard.
If you just hold this up and face this one, and you can say like, hey, I'm Warren Campbell with Dead Billionaires for liner notes, or just something like that. And then clap it one time for me. He'll let you know when we're ready. Whoa! Oh, are we good?
Whenever you're ready.
Hey, I'm Warren Campbell with Dead Billionaires, and this is Liner Notes.